I used to define myself as a creativity expert, but then my son was asked to do a presentation in school, and he said, my father is a creativity explorer. An expert knows everything. An expert is boring. An explorer doesn't have any answers, but he has all the questions. To explore means to venture into unknown territory in order to learn more about it.
Fredrik Härén has spent 25 years traveling the globe to understand how humanity innovates. He is a speaker and author and wrote the book, The Unvisible, which was born from a dream. He's known as the Creativity Explorer. And on this episode of the Heart Leader podcast, he challenges us to stop planning and start living in the moment to unlock our true creative potential.
I don't have memories and I don't plan for the future. I'm very much in the moment. Nomad doesn't mean a movement of the body. It means a movement of the mind. Just let go. There's no problem. It's like a magnet. It just draws you in. All you have to do is not try to hold it back.
So if there's somebody who's listening to this in this moment, what would you say to them if they're brushing up against this light and they're feeling that fear or that constriction?
What can I do in my life to... And the side effect by doing that is you become calmer, less stressed. I mean, all the things that we want to be happen.
Hey, Heart Leader community, if you're liking this video, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. I just have to start because I've been curious since looking at your background. You are an explorer of creativity. You are the Creativity Explorer. And having read one of your books now and really dove deep into your website, I want to know exactly what that means to you.
Yes. So actually, it's a cute story. I've been studying creativity for 25 years, and I used to define myself as a creativity expert. But then my son was asked to do a presentation in school when he was 8 years old, 5 years ago. And the assignment was, what does your parents do for a living? And he was supposed to say, my father's a creativity expert, but he screwed it up. And he said, my father is a creativity explorer. And I heard that and I said, oh my God, this is so much better. Because an expert knows everything. An expert is boring. An expert has all the answers. An explorer doesn't have any answers, but he has all the questions. To explore means to venture into unknown territory in order to learn more about it. And I venture into unknown territories about human creativity because I want to learn more about it. And when I started redefining myself as an explorer instead of an expert, I became much more curious around who I should interview and what I should be asking.
For me, that opens up so much more. I've always said I'm a master of nothing, but a student of everything for that very same reason. Because when we think we're masters of something, then we think, oh, I don't need to go any further, but there's always something more we can learn. So I think I might adapt to your philosophy. I like explorer better because then it sounds so fun.
It is fun, and it's about discovering new things, right? And that's what life is about. I just interviewed a musician in Indonesia, and he did not define himself as a musician. He's been doing it for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. He's one of the most famous. He does film music and everything. But he defined himself as a student of music, which I think was beautiful. Because it's the same mentality. If you're a student of music, you are never done learning. If you're a musician, it sounds like, oh, I know how to do this.
And of course, you have this extensive background. Yet here you are just continuing to explore.
Yeah, I'm learning more now than ever. Yes.
That is so, I love it, the concept. And then I had the honor of being on a conversation with you before we got to here. And immediately there was this synchronicity, this connection, this, oh my gosh, I want to explore your brain. And then we dropped into this heart-centered place where I could just feel there's this consciousness flow that comes through you, which is a huge passion of mine, because consciousness as one thing that we have yet to really understand or define. And that led us to talking about a book that came to you in a dream at 2 a.m., I learned after reading the first page. So we want to dive into that, but I'm going to leave that as a teaser because there's so much to talk about. And that's where I want to open a doorway for you to share first projects that are coming up for you that you're passionate about. And then second, where you're talking to us from, because anybody who's going to see your background is going to probably have the same response our team had, which is, that's gorgeous. Where the frick are you, Fredrik?
Okay, I'll start with the second question. I live on an island, a small, tiny private island, which is extreme. It's the closest, it's the most central private island to Stockholm, the capital of Sweden. So it's very close to the city, but we are isolated from the rest of the world. And this is a geometric dome on top of my house. So I'm sitting on top of my house, and you're actually seeing the bad view. I have the good view, this direction, which is even better. So I'm a huge fan of islands. So yeah, so I'm very happy to live on one of them. Sweden has a lot of islands. So that's where I am. Yes, the first question is what my project. I am publishing a new book in a couple of weeks, and it's called The World of Creativity, and it's 37 chapters about 37 lessons in creativity that I've learned in 37 different countries. And you could say it's not creativity exercises, because the more creative people you interview, the more you learn that creative people, they don't do creativity exercises. They try to understand creativity. So this is 37 lessons in trying to understand the creative process by me learning from very creative people all over the world. And basically, that's what I've been doing for the last 25 years. And I thought it's time to put it into a book now. So that's my next book. I've written 12 books, but when it comes to nonfiction books, this is my favorite.
And the name of this book?
The World of Creativity.
And where will it be available once it is released?
It's available. Pre-order on Amazon or wherever you can. It's published by Wiley, so it is available.
Now, on your website, you have a lot of free resources for anyone who is seeking to get connected to creativity, communication, all of these aspects of themselves. And that is such a gift.
As the creativity explorer, my main job is to interview people. I interview more or less one person per day about creativity, and then I need to get that content out. So I don't care if I charge or not. I just want to, this is what I learned today, kind of thing. And then once in a while I go, and then I make my living speaking at conferences, of course.
Yeah, which is fantastic in itself. But if somebody went to your site and they didn't know where to begin, as an explorer yourself, you know that there has to be an entry point into exploration. You have so much great content out there. Where would you tell someone to, okay, here is where I would say this is a great base to start your journey. You've picked up the new book. You're going to read that, but you want to start your journey by exploring my site and having some visual content to go with it. Where would you say would be a good place to start?
So my whole philosophy is that I don't have memories and I don't plan for the future. I'm very much in the moment. So when someone asks, like, Fredrik, who's the most interesting person you've interviewed? I usually say the last person I interviewed. Or what country would you like to go to that you haven't been to? I've been to 75. I said, whatever country I'm going to next. So to answer this question to you, I would say, go and read the latest blog post, or go to LinkedIn and look at my latest post, because that's the most relevant. If you want to understand me and what I'm thinking about, that's what I'm thinking about at the moment. So that would be my answer.
I have some amazing news. Silence Your Inner Critic was nominated for 2 different book awards, the International Book Awards and the Book Fest Awards. And I'm so grateful. I want to give it away for free. We have an amazing opportunity if you click below right now, where you can get Silence Your Inner Critic plus a whole bunch of amazing resources up to $200 worth. All you have to do is cover shipping and it'll come right to your door. Again, just click below and get your copy now.
I love that. Well, that leads me to the where my heart started to soar in our conversation, which is that present moment, conscious connection, share that I felt with you immediately when you and I spoke. When it comes to being in the moment, it was something I mean, I feel with some people, but not as strongly as I can honestly say I felt with you, where our conversation was you weren't thinking about what you were going to talk about in the next sentence, and you weren't thinking about what we just talked about. You're here with me in this conversation. So it is a flow of conscious connection and creation in the present moment. How do you feel you got to that space in conscious connection?
I got the same feeling actually when we were talking. So I think it is it's two people that connect. But as I just said recently, I don't have memories. If you ask me to say the name of the people I went to school with, I can't do it. I don't remember. If you ask me what I did last summer, I can't remember. If you ask me about my wedding day, I can't remember. I don't have memories. And I'm not a planner. I don't live in Sweden a long time ago. Nostalgia was a disease, and you would get medicine for it because you were not living in the moment. You were living in the past. So I think if you can't live in the past and you're not able to live in the future, the only place you can live is in the moment. So that's where I. It's not a. That's just how that's how my brain works. It is very much in the moment. It's not something I consciously do. I don't meditate more than any normal person. That's the only way I know how to live.
As crazy as it sounds, I think that's amazing because so many people wrap process around presence. And what you just said is you're not wrapping process around being present. You're just being present.
I'm a huge fan of etymology, and we had this idea that we were going to do a crayfish party actually tomorrow. And we sent out the invite yesterday. So it's like 2 days before to like 25 family friends and said, let's have a big crayfish party. Not a single person could make it because they all had plans. Because in Sweden, people tend to plan a lot. Like if you want to plan a party for someone, you need to do it 3 months in advance or their calendars are going to be full. But we didn't do that. So everyone said, I would love to come, but sorry, we already have plans. And I said to my wife, I said, God, Swedes are not spontaneous, are they? And then I looked up the etymology of the word spontaneous, because spontaneous is a kind of a positive word, but it has a bit of a negative connotation. Oh, he's so spontaneous, right? But like without planning, if you look at a dictionary, it says spontaneous, doing something without planning, or that's the definition. But the etymology of the word spontaneous is of my own free will, doing something out of my own free will. So spontaneity is doing what you really feel like doing. It's about freedom.
That's incredible.
Yes, and so being spontaneous is very much living in the moment, isn't it? They're very connected.
Yes. If we weigh ourselves down with 3 to 5 months worth of plans, then is that weight the very thing that's keeping us from getting to where we desire to go?
And then we're living in the future. I once did an 11-day meditation with a Buddhist monk in Sri Lanka, and it's like a silent meditation. You can no talking for 11 days. You could talk 15 minutes a day with this monk. That's it. And after that, just meditate and eat and sleep. And after a few days, I had this 15 minutes talk with him, and he said, Fredrik, always be in the moment. I said, yeah, of course you're going to say that. You're a Buddhist monk. But he said, sometimes you actually, I said, because I study creativity, and creativity is imagining the future, like imagining a better world for yourself. So sometimes shouldn't you actually be living, like, shouldn't you plan your life? And I remember I said to him, So for example, Tiger Woods, this is a few years ago, so Tiger Woods was big. So Tiger Woods is trying to make a putt. Shouldn't he imagine the ball going in before he putts so that he mentally has, seen the ball go in? And he goes, no, he should not do that. He should be in the moment. And I said, well, okay, how about me? I'm a speaker. Shouldn't I like plan my speech and prepare my speech and see myself doing a success? I can't just go up there and improvise. And he looked at me and he said, Fredrik, what do you think would happen if you walk up on the stage and you're 100% in the moment, right there and right there with the people in the audience, and you just soak up what the energy that's in the air and you say what comes to your mind right there and then? Don't you think you would deliver a great speech? And I go, yeah, you're right. Of course. Why would I plan a speech and then go there? And what if that's the wrong speech? It doesn't gel with the audience, then it's going to be a terrible speech. So he's actually right.
So were you always this way? I know you don't have a ton of memories, but maybe
Exactly. I don't have a memory.
maybe you have some remembrance, because I would personally say from my experience, there's a difference between having a lot of memories that are well defined, but versus remembrance of patterns in our beingness. So I remember that I had patterns of behavior that didn't serve me. Therefore, I do not choose to repeat those patterns of behavior in the present moment. Defined memories, I lose a lot of those too. I'm very much with you. Sometimes I'll have a picture that'll come forward from when I was younger, and oh, well, now that I see it, I remember that happened, but I don't remember that it happened. It's not like I live in that nostalgia that you're talking about. Do you have anything like that? Do you remember patterns of behavior that no longer serve you, but are still part of you? Or do you just not have memories of anything?
I don't have memories of. I mean, I have few memories, but they're like random. And like, for example, my child asked me, one of my children asked me a couple of days ago, and we were going running, and he said, Daddy, have you seen those weight vests that you put on yourself, like 20-pound vest that you have when you go running? He said, have you seen those? I go, yeah, I've seen those. Have you ever had one of those? And I'd say, I don't know. Like, how would you not know if you had one of those or not? I said, I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah. No, I think that's incredible.
But the opposite, people think it's sad. A lot of people think, oh, that's so sad. You don't, like, for example, my wife is perfect. I found a good wife because she has a really good memory. So I need her sometimes because she can find the right photo in 3 seconds from, what was your child's second birthday theme? I have no idea. I have no, but she would know, oh, it was a Harry Potter theme. So she'd find the pictures. So we're balancing, but someone who has perfect memory, there are some people who are the total opposite of me. There are people who don't remember everything in their lives, and they are miserable, like they are depressed.
Do you find that it helps you with the flow of creativity, though?
Yes, it does, because it makes me, well, first of all, creativity and being in the moment is extremely connected, right? Great ideas come when when we're really connecting with the present moment. But it also means that I am looking at, I'm not trying to remember what we did before. I don't care about that. I once interviewed, I once lived 11 days with a nomadic tribe in Mongolia to learn, what can we learn about nomadic creativity from nomadic people? So we were living in their little yurts, the little tent, and I was interviewing this 80-year-old man about, how do you live your life, basically, because they don't have a word for creativity. So I just, give me wisdom, old man. And he said this: you people in the West, you think we always move. You think nomad means always move. He said it doesn't. He said we have been living in this spot for weeks or months. But every day when we wake up, we open the tent door, we look out, and we say to ourselves, this place was perfect yesterday. This was paradise yesterday. But is it perfect today? And if it's not, they just tear down the whole village and they pack everything and they move. And then they move until they find an even better place. And then they stop there, build a new village, and then they live there for months. He said, nomad doesn't mean a movement of the body. It means a movement of the mind, which is brilliant. So to have this ability to say, yesterday was great, but is it great today? And if it's not, just change your life. This is very much, that is creativity, essence in creativity. It's time to change. And you think about it, the really sad stories of humans is people who stayed too long in a relationship, too long in a job, too long in a city. They should have moved, they should have done something, and they didn't do it. So the ability to question, just because you've been doing something and it's been great for 30 years, maybe tomorrow you open your tent door, you look out and you go, yeah, that was great for 30 years, but you know what? It's not great anymore. I'm going to move on.
How would you then say, for those who do stay longer than is great and would come to you and say, I hear your advice, but then doesn't that create a ripple impact on the whole village? What if for somebody else, it was great in that village?
This is not a metaphor. This is actually nomadic people. And they said they don't decide when it's time to move. The animals decide when it's time to move. And the animals say, we don't want to be here anymore. We want to move. And they go, okay, this is not good for our animals. And then they leave. So it's not about what they want. It's time to leave. And if someone says to me, well, I've been here too long. Okay, well, what is that saying? The best time to plant a tree is 30 years ago. The second best time is today. Right? So yes, maybe you should have done that 30 years ago, but second best time to do this is just to change right now.
And it helps to have that full scope or full view too, because if the animals and other energy is kind of popping up and saying, hey, it's time to leave, then that's kind of in our lives too, right? If we're going to apply it same, if you are recognizing it's time to do something different, but you don't want to do it because of the impact to the rest of the village, the rest of your family, then who knows? Maybe the energy is what's telling you to move and you just need to listen to that energy because it is best for the whole village. It's just not everybody is witnessing it yet.
Not everyone maybe want, and some people might not want to change, but I mean, what they are talking about is this deep intuition telling them it's time to move. We all know when we get a message. Like I lived in Sweden until I was about 35 or something. And then suddenly I had this urge. I said, Fredrik, you need to move to China. And I had a stable relationship. I was happy with, my career was great. And I just dropped everything and broke up my whole life in Sweden. And I just moved to China on a whim. And I just had to do it. And I said, I know if I don't do this now, when I'm an old man, when I'm 70 and I look back at my life, I'm going to be I'm going to be so bitter because I said, I felt I had to go and I didn't go. Like I didn't follow this urge. And then, yeah, but I did, right? I had to do that. Sometimes you get these messages where you just have to do it.
Yes. And I think that's a great way to circle back to what I touched on at the beginning, which is this amazing book. Make sure everybody. So this came to you at 2 a.m. in a dream, and you just had to write it. Can you share a little bit about the book and the concept? And it blew my heart, my mind wide open by the time I finished it. And I can share a little bit of why, but if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about the book.
I don't know. I'm very happy to hear that. So yeah, so it came that I had actually I have traveled to Bangkok to write a novel, but it was going to be a totally different novel. It was supposed to be about a young Chinese girl. And this is a stupid idea. Because like, oh, I should write a novel, that kind of idea. But then I woke up the first night and it was an amazing and also a little bit scary nightmare. And I didn't just dream I dreamt a whole story. I dreamt a movie, like what they looked like, what their names were, everything. I dreamt like the logo. This is the logo of the Unvisible. And I woke up at 2 and I said, oh my God, what a dream. This is like, I felt like it was given to me. It felt like a message given to me. And then the next day, I said, okay, actually, the same night, I started writing notes. And the next day, I said, screw that other novel. I have to write this one. And it took me years to finish it, but it finally came out. And it's one of those ideas where I feel, actually, I didn't want my name on the book. I wanted it to say, as told to Fredrik Härén, not by Fredrik Härén. And the funny thing is, you could have told me, Fredrik, I hate that book. And I wouldn't care. To me, I didn't create this, so I don't care what you think about this book. Love it or hate it, I don't care. Because it was a message given to me that I had to get out there as a vehicle for some universal idea that had to be done. So that it is so profound that I just had to get it out. You want? Should I say anything? Should I talk about what it's about? Or
Yes, please. At least the highlights or the premise.
Yeah, the premise is that there exists on Earth. This is not the story, but this is the premise. The premise is that there exists on Earth a human race that is transparent, just like this. Like this is hard, but you can see straight through it. Just so what we have black people and brown people and whatever, but we also have transparent people, and we have lost contact with them because we have lost our ability to see them. So that's why it's the yin and yang without the black dot. So they are the white ones, we are the black ones. They are part of our world, but we are not part of their world anymore. We have lost our contact with them. But the message is really, what does it mean to be a human? The book is about what it means to be human and to be a humanity, to be connected. Because if we find out there's an invisible human race, all of us visible humans would come together as one, versus this, suddenly they would be our enemy. And we wouldn't be black and white and American and Swedish. We'd just be visible humans versus the invisible humans. So that is kind of, so the message is about humanity, to be one with humanity, and the kindness that comes when you realize that we are just one.
And how quickly, from what I really took from all of this, well, one, I just have to commend you on the way that you did it, because there's so many cool features, like the use of the black and the white, that it's a compelling read in itself. And then you added just attention to detail like that, which drives you as a reader forward and helps from that communication standpoint.
Yeah, so all the messages that came to me in that dream were like messages that I think, not that I think, messages that humanity needs to kind of think and reflect on, that I wasn't able to, in my conscious mind, I wasn't able to kind of get into books or speeches or anything, but the subconscious brain said, this is really the message you need to get out there. And it's kind of like the whole book is like a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the unknown, that which we don't know, that which exists out of us, that influence us, that we don't know about. But also, if you notice, these invisible people come and they whisper to the visible humans in their sleep when they need a message to be heard. So who knows? Maybe someone whispered this story to me in a dream, right? That's kind of the whole metaphor here.
Yes. And I was going to ask, what is your experience, or even your belief, if you're willing to share that? Because I know in my circle, I have a lot of friends who believe in that metaphysical. And as someone who's studied quantum consciousness, quantum sciences, and the realms that exist, or different dimensions, and our ability, even with the yin and the yang and the dots that are not there, it could represent different protons that are just not available in this dimension and are existing in other dimensions and come into this dimension. So what is your thought, both from a scientific or spiritual aspect, on the potentiality of something like this?
Well, first, from the perspective of the book, everything that I write is scientifically sound. So, and that's like, I haven't invented another dimension or superpowers or anything. It's just the science that we have agreed on it's all within the realm of that stuff, because we have transparent things in nature, jellyfish and everything like that. So I wrote it so that people who believe that there is something more can read that and say, yes, see, there is something more. And also the people who don't believe there's not anything more could still read that, and all their science would still hold up. And that was the purpose. I mean, it seems to me that to get a story that both of those kind of personalities would like. What do I believe? I am, per definition, an agnostic. I think agnostic is a beautiful word because it means I don't know. But it doesn't mean I'm ignorant. It means I don't know, which means I am open to anything, and that triggers. An explorer and an agnostic is similar, because an agnostic and someone who knows, that's an expert. I know this is how it is. I think the only approach to life, especially the big questions in life, is to be an agnostic. Say, I don't know yet, which means I'm open to anything. I just recently interviewed a painter in where was it? Riga, a couple of weeks ago, and she described creativity as how was it now? Yes, receiving the mystery. And she said, creativity, don't try to understand it. You can try to understand it to your best abilities, but you will never fully understand the magic of creativity. Like when someone gives an idea, some idea just comes into you. Don't try to understand it. Be like an antenna, receive, it's out there, be open to it, be curious about it, be open to the idea, like, take the lid off and be open to get the creativity in. Receive the mystery. I think it's a beautiful description of creativity. And also, that's how I look at these things. I'm open to anything, but I don't believe. I'm not fanatically gonna push one theory here. And this is the Unvisible is a metaphor for this. You say, here's a new theory that no one has presented before. All these unexplained things can be explained by the fact that there are humans we cannot see. Yeah. So the book, as you know, the book is full of those things. Like when we stumble on the street for no reason whatsoever, it's because we stumbled on an invisible, like the deja vu, whatever it is. I love that with the Matrix, when the Matrix define this, the deja vu silently things gets an explanation, right? Because it gets you to question the things you've been thinking about. And I have a long answer to your question, but yes, short answer, I'm agnostic.
And thank you for being willing to share that. And honestly, I would love to see this made into a movie. So if anybody is listening to this, and pick up the book and read it, because this being turned or a series on one of the streaming services, it has so much compelling. Not only is it entertaining, it is incredibly entertaining, but it is heart-provoking, thought-provoking. You are correct. The science is sound, because that's one of the things I was going through, and I'm looking at it, and as I'm sitting with it, part of what really blew my mind was, yes, this could literally happen and we wouldn't know it. And when we look at ancient wisdoms and people talking about Lemuria, or I know there's another one that there are all these different ancient civilizations that have just disappeared, and individuals will say, well, they haven't disappeared. They're still here. They're just unseen. Well,
there you go. My favorite from the book is the fact that in the book, I say that in the book, as you know, children can, any newborn child can see all the invisibles. That's why children scream for no reason and suddenly become afraid. But then children quickly lose it. But some children can see it longer than others. And so an actual fact, a true fact, is that 5% of children have invisible friends, and then they lose it. So my daughter, one of my children had invisible friends, and she would talk about them all the time. And then we just laugh at it and say, oh, that's a funny story. But what if it's not, what if it's not, what if it's actually, isn't that weird? All over the world, children see invisible people. So I try to pick up those these are not made up facts. These are actual facts.
How long did it take you to write this?
I would say the process was probably almost 10 years from the dream to the publication. And the funny thing is, when you say I can see this as a movie, publishing the book to me was never the goal. The goal to me, and actually the book was #1 on Amazon in Singapore of all the books. Like, I beat Harry Potter and I beat the Bible. I beat all books, which is very rare for someone to do. But I don't care. To me, that was not the goal. The goal is it's going to be a movie or a miniseries, and it's going to be a big one. But I don't push it because this is not my idea. This is bound to happen, and it's going to happen when the time is right. So yes, I'm just waiting for it. And it's anything that has happened around this idea has been like that. Just like getting it to #1 was just, yeah, okay. When it happened, I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah. It didn't surprise you. It just is.
Yeah, but then it tanked, right? Then it dropped from the bestseller list. And I thought, okay, never mind. I don't care. It's not my book. It's not my story. It's not my story to tell. It's just the story that needs to be told. That is the story that needs to be told, but that no one can know about because, yeah, as you know, if we find out about an invisible human race, we would try to kill all of them because that's what we do with enemies, unfortunately.
It is. And that's another thing individuals have brought up about aliens, right? If we found out there was alien life, that would be what we would do. So maybe that's why they've never visited here.
Exactly. And the Unvisible, their whole existence is about making sure we don't know they exist. Because if we find out that they exist, they would have to kill us before we kill them.
It's such a profound story. So thank you for being an open channel to bring that through.
Yes, thank you for talking about it. Great.
Yeah, in 10 years of your life, that's not a small gift of your time on this planet. So thank you for that too. I know you were likely doing other things, but that doesn't mean that.
I like living with that story. It's like a friend. It is. I once interviewed a sculptor in Hong Kong, and he talked about divine ideas and mortal ideas. And mortal ideas is like when your conscious mind just says, "Oh, I have an idea. I'm gonna invite Fredrik on a podcast, or I'm gonna do this." Or in his case, "Oh, I'm gonna make a sculpture of Donald Trump," and he does a sculpture of Donald Trump. It's a nice sculpture, but it's not magical. But then divine ideas are ideas that comes to him in his sleep, in his meditation, from his subconscious. And his name is Johnson Tang. And those sculptures are amazing. Like, he has 600,000 followers on LinkedIn. It's a face with a canoe coming out and another face coming out of the canoe. It's like, where did you see this? I was like, I saw it in my dream. And then I just wake up and do them. So he talks about mortal ideas, which is just, I'm going to make a sculpture of Donald Trump, and divine ideas, which is like this idea that comes to him. So mortal ideas is ideas that I come up with. Divine ideas is ideas that come to us. And it's like, I didn't come up with this crazy idea. It just came to me and I just have to do it. And he said something profound to me. He said, divine ideas are always beautiful. And they always have good intentions. And if you read The Unvisible, it's a beautiful, beautiful message. And his sculptures are beautiful. And anyone that has had a divine idea, they're always human and beautiful. And you have to start wondering, why is that, and where does these ideas come from? You have to be open to the mystery.
I love that. And that was one question I desired to really dive into as well. You talk to a lot of creatives, and at least I have in my life, and I know you've talked to more creatives than I could even possibly imagine, but I do get different responses from many of them. And some will say, oh no, this was planned, and I put a lot of my own thought into this. And then you will get many who say, no, this is something that it just flows through me, and I have to get into this creative space, almost like a zone. And so there's a mystery. And so when this happens, I always wonder, do you feel that true creativity, not planned creativity, but true creativity, and what I heard you describing, more like that divine creativity, is a flow of consciousness that comes through us from somewhere beyond human conscious, creative consciousness versus that planned creativity, which is maybe the human collective creative consciousness? Or do you ever think about it in that kind of a way?
Yeah, so that's why I think there's a deficit in the English language, that we only have one word for idea. So you say the ones that our conscious brains create and the ones that are come to us, we both call them. That's why I like mortal ideas and divine ideas concept, because they're not even related. They are two totally different things, and they might be okay. They're related, but it's so different. I wouldn't. I'm being picky here, but I wouldn't call it a stream. I wouldn't call it a stream of consciousness, because it's not. I would maybe call it a stream of subconsciousness, because consciousness to me is like things you are aware of, and this is not something you are aware of. This is you being empty, and to receive something that is floating out there, and then you just let it come into you. So that is not consciousness. Unless we mean the universal consciousness, but I think consciousness, we should be selective with the word, because a lot of people think consciousness and they think, oh, what I'm thinking about. So to me, the key is that it is what's the English word? It's disconnected from us. It comes to us. Like, if you see these people who really live close to nature, and these people who are so much in the moment that birds will fly up to them and land on their shoulder or something. That's when you are in that space, the birds will come, the animals will come to you, and the ideas will come to you. That's much more of that's a better metaphor, at least in my head, to describe what this is about.
And I love the analogy, because there is, and when I say consciousness, just to give you the scope of what I intended by the word, it is that division of, you have the universal consciousness, the whole, where we're all connected together on a universal scale. Then you have our human collective consciousness, which is separate from the birds, the trees, the nature, which is a planetary consciousness scale. So when we look at dimensions and dimensional layers, there are just so many different levels at which we connect. Thinking of the flower of life even, and how that all interlays and interplays together. We're all connected at the grand universal scale, but very few of us allow our subconscious to go beyond to the human layer and reach out to something broader and pick up on it. So what you're describing, yes, we need more words, or we need at least to get beyond that human scope to reach out to something bigger and know that there's more.
And that's what that artist Johnson Tsang said, that our aim should be to get the ratio between mortal ideas and divine ideas. We should aim for a higher ratio of divine ideas, because they're always beautiful. And I interviewed this other guy, I don't remember his name now, but he's a lighting designer. He's the guy as an artwork, he got a whole Dutch city to turn off all the lights in the city, so that suddenly you could see the stars for the first time ever in that city. Like, that's the kind of artwork that he does. And he always works with light. And he said that in Dutch, and also in Sweden, the word for beauty is skönhet in Swedish, or skönhet, or something like that. But it's the same word, skönhet. It is very different from an etymology point of view, extremely different from beauty. So beauty, the word beautiful, is like nice to the eye. That's kind of the meaning of the word, something that looks good. That's beauty. But skönhet comes from the word, the origin of that word is light, a clear light. And when you have these divine ideas, they are beautiful in the skönhet, in the meaning of skönhet. It looks like, I see a universal, bright, light, beautiful solution here that is just needs to get out there. So that's when we say beautiful, it's not like, oh, it's pretty. No. It's like this universal light that just shines over everything. It's that kind of idea.
I love that. So if there's somebody who's listening to this in this moment and they're brushing up against this light, this universal idea, but that's a huge expansion, right? You've been told, maybe you've not experienced this, but I do know that there are many others, and I was one of them until I stopped worrying what others were saying about me and said, okay, I know what I'm experiencing and I'm free falling into it. What would you say to them if they're brushing up against this light and they're feeling that fear or that constriction, or much of what I read in your book, right? Where there is this, okay, there's danger in trusting in what I am feeling to be true and in what I'm seeing.
Well, I just interviewed someone a few days ago, and we were talking similar things, and he said surrender. That was but I don't like that word because it gives. There's two connotations to it. One is to give up, and one is just to, give yourself away. So I understand the meaning of it, but if you're brushing up to this, just let go. There's no problem. It's like a magnet. It just draws you in. All you have to do is not try to hold it back. Just let go. And in that meaning of the word, just surrender. I think the problem is that people are stopping themselves before that. So they're not even getting close to that light. So they need to, what is stop? Let's say the light is here, and then there's a wall here, and you're on the other side of the wall. You're not going around the wall to get into that light because you're afraid of that fire. So you're staying outside of the wall. You need to think about, what should I do to go around that wall so that the magnet hits and drags you in. So when you are brushing, like when I had that nightmare, I wasn't like, should I really do this or not? There was
that sounds fun.
Like, I'm doing this. I have no choice. I have been assigned, and you don't argue with this entity. You just do it. So when you're there, it's past discussion time. So I think it's more important to think like, why am I not building my life so that more of these, if we look at it, the guy, the light designer, he worked with Fireflies too. I used to have an island. I used to live in the Philippines on an island, and we had fireflies, and they would just come. They just come. But if you scare them, they go away and they stop shining. If the metaphor for divine ideas is the firefly, then you should ask yourself, what can I do in my life to attract more firefly? And in the case of, because where we lived, it was turn off all the other lights that we have, because if we turn on all the LED lights and stuff, they wouldn't come. So that's why I live on an island, for example. Why do I live on an island? Because I am isolated. I'm mentally and physically isolated from anyone else. I don't have neighbors. I don't have anyone. No one can come here. There's no cars driving by. It's just me on this island. So that leaves me more open to whatever the universe decides to send to me. It's a conscious decision to live on an island. But if I lived, in an apartment and there's people on top walking and I can hear it, that is the equivalent of an LED light scaring the fireflies away. That's why I have a geometric dome here, so that I can see nature. Even if I'm sitting inside working, I still feel I'm 100% surrounded by nature. That's the equivalent of turning off the LED light to attract the fireflies. So think about that. What can I do in my life to attract the fireflies?
Brilliant advice.
And a side effect by doing that is you become calmer, less stressed. All the things that we want to be happen. And I have to add something, because there's always a skeptical person in the audience and say, oh, that's easy for you to say. Like, not everyone can buy an island. I just share that this island that I live on costs less than $100,000. Okay, less than an apartment. So it's not because I have all the money in the world. It's because I decided to not live like everyone else lived.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be an island. An island is what works for you, right?
Oh, yes.
Ask what is your version of an island.
Exactly. Or what is your version of attracting fireflies? So that for other person, it might very well be an apartment where a lot of people are surrounding that make noise. Like J.K. Rowling would write Harry Potter in a cafe because she needed all that people around her. Like she needed that. I can't do that. I get annoyed by other people. I need to be by myself.
Yeah.
But she didn't have Harry Potter in a cafe. She had that on a train going from Manchester to London. And that's where a lot of divine ideas come when we are traveling, like on a train, a plane, a car, something like that. It creates it's a very a fertile ground for divine ideas is to travel. But of course, the best place is to sleep. I mean, meditate and sleep and just calm down your energy.
So if someone, this is another question. I could sit here and talk with you for hours and hours. And
yeah, me too.
Okay. So if someone has one of those divine ideas come through during sleep, like you did, how did you handle that? Because another question that comes up is, all right, so does that mean that I just get up and start working on it right then? Do I jot it down in a notebook and get to it in the morning? What if it comes every night and I have one of the invisible whispering in my ear night after night after night, and now I just am not sleeping because that inspiration is hitting me every single night and I have to work the next day?
Well, if those are the kind of questions that come to you, you didn't have a divine idea. It's the same thing as falling in love. And you go, oh, but what if I marry this person? Then what if that doesn't work out? If you are asking yourself these kind of questions, you're not in love. You're trying to tell yourself that you're in love, but you're not in love. Because if you're in love, you say, I can't wait to spend more time with this person. And what should I buy her? What kind of present should I buy her for her? Like, that's the kind of questions that are in your head. And if you have a divine idea, none of those questions would come. I didn't sit there and say, should I write this book or not? I was like, I'm writing this book. And then I sat down and I said, I looked up and I said, tell me what happened. And I started writing. And then anytime I got stuck in writing this book, I would never say, oh no, now I'm stuck. I would just say, okay, what happened then? I have another beautiful, just so we not just talk about me, my divine idea. I interviewed this Swiss watchmaker. And he was a workaholic. He worked all the time. But then suddenly he broke down, like physically, mentally. He had a breakdown. So he quit his job and he slept for 16 hours a day for months, like 6 months in a row. And after sleeping 16 hours a day, he woke up. You are going to like this. He woke up, he had breakfast, and then he watched Star Trek, the series, for 8 hours nonstop. He binged watched. Then he went back to sleep and he slept for 16 hours. And he did that for months, sleeping and Star Trek, sleeping and Star Trek. After doing that, he just needed a break, like otherwise he would die. After doing that for months, he woke up with a divine idea, like this amazing watch. He saw it in his dream. And all other watches are two-dimensional. The cogs are two-dimensional. He visualized a three-dimensional watch, like planets, because it's space. Planets circulating a sun. So everything is three-dimensional. He woke up and said, that's the one. I'm going to make this watch. And he went back to work and he built it. And he showed it to his colleagues and they said, wow, this is an amazing watch. And then suddenly they were almost done and it didn't work. And all his colleagues said, oh, that's too bad. That was such a cool idea. He said, don't worry about it. I'll just go back to my dream. And he went to sleep and he went back to the same dream. And he went back and he saw the same watch again. And he realized what he had misunderstood the first time. And they go, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. He woke up, fixed it, and it worked. That watch was voted most innovative watch in the world that year because it's the divine idea. And he didn't say, oh, should I do this? It's like, oh, that it. Okay, I'm doing this watch.
That's the advice.
And that watch is beautiful. It's amazing.
To me, that's the difference between trying and allowing.
Yes, I agree.
And we get on this hamster wheel so often because we are programmed that way for some reason to just try. But when we try, we're not doing anything. We're just grabbing at things.
Exactly. Look at animals. Because I live on an island, there's a lot of animals around me, right? So you look at how animals do. They don't hunt. They don't work all the time. They don't hunt all the time. Like, I mean, okay, bees do, well, like some animals do, but the more advanced ones, like birds and lions and stuff. Like lions would literally just sleep and have sex 20 hours a day. And then they go out and hunt. And most of the time, they're just slowly waiting for the right thing. And then suddenly, when they see something, have you ever seen a cat decide to hunt? Like everything just changes. And the world disappears. They just focused in the moment on that thing. And everything is on that because they're going to catch that. And then they do or they don't. Like we have a dog here and it chases birds. It most of the time doesn't do anything. But then when it's time to hunt, the rest of the world disappears and it's just focused on this. I work the same way. I am extremely unproductive. I don't do a lot in one day. But when I feel like, okay, here's the energy, I focus 100% and I just get it done. And then I say, okay, done for the day. Now go back to, because I think that's how the universe has built us to work. And that's energy. It's harnessing energy.
Yes.
I compare it to the elevator versus most people take the stairs. It's hard work. It's exhausting. You never get any rest. And you just walk. That's the what do you call that? The hamster wheel. Walking. I don't do that. I take the elevator. I just sit in the lobby and I just wait. And suddenly, oops, there's the elevator, the door open. And I just say, here it is, like a cat. Jump into the elevator, press the button and the highest up as I can. And whoops, go off 24 floors up. The door's open, I jump out. And then I sit there and wait for the next elevator. This is how, I'm not saying everyone should work like this. I'm saying this is how I work.
And the key is knowing how it fits best for you. Like I can literally visualize you going, woo, here I am out of an elevator, right? Like, this is how you work best.
But you have to pay attention because you have to see that. You have to grasp the opportunity when it's there. Otherwise, you're just going to sit in the lobby all day. You're not going to get anywhere. So opportunity, I always talk about this, but opportunity is the most beautiful word in the world. And do you know the etymology of the word opportunity?
I do not.
It's beautiful. Opportunity is a name of a wind. You know, there's a typhoon, there's a storm, there's a breeze. All these words are different kinds of wind. Opportunity is also a kind of a wind, originally, like from the Roman times, back in the Latin day. So what kind of wind is opportunity? It means literally the wind that takes you back to your harbor, the right wind that will take you home. So here you are, like a Roman soldier on the sea, almost dying. There's no water. And suddenly here comes opportunity, the wind that will take, the right wind that will take you back to your harbor. But it also tells you, it's beautiful, but it also tells you that when that wind comes, you need to stand up, you need to get everyone to wake up and say, hey, opportunity is here, hoist the sails, let's start sailing, we're going home. So, and that's where grasp opportunity comes in. It is when the wind comes, the right wind that's going to bring you back to your family, you need to grasp it.
That's incredible. Well, thank you for sharing that knowledge. Yes. And the energy of words is something that's very important to me too. Whether we realize it or not, words have energy because of how they've been used throughout history. And if we're not mindful of that, then we could be creating energy in our fields and what we're sharing that we're just not even mindful of. So now knowing what opportunity means, like the etymology of it, I can can use it in a way that is more meaningful and mindful and sees the opportunity of opportunity.
Exactly. Can I share another one just for the fun of it?
Please. Yeah, keep educating us.
The word recruit. You know what? Everyone knows what the word recruit means. It's to hire someone, right? But what is the meaning of the actual word? What is the etymology of the word recruit? What does it mean? Where re means again, and crute means to grow. So to recruit means to grow again. So the metaphor of the word is that you have a pot, like a human being, which is like a potted plant, which is stuck in a pot that is too small. So you take that plant out of the pot and you replant it in a bigger plot, and the plant will grow again. So recruitment is making sure that people grow again, that they become the person they are meant to be. And suddenly recruitment has a totally different meaning, doesn't it?
Yes. And there is, if you're going to recruit someone into your organization, then with that comes the responsibility of being willing to help them grow.
And also that person is going to help the organization grow. It's the same thing. What we are doing now, is this recruitment going to make us grow again? That's the answer that should be answered by bringing this person in. If not, don't hire that person.
So is this stuff you had mentioned at the beginning? I always love bringing things back from what we talked about before. You had mentioned you speak at organizations.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this what you share and you help them with? So for anyone on the Heart Leader podcast, we have a lot of leaders who listen in different organizations. So in all that you shared, we didn't really touch on that aspect of you. Is what you're sharing now something they could look forward to in what you're helping them with, or can you touch on that part of yourself?
Yeah. So Jack, like Columbus was a great explorer, but he made his living exploring, but he got paid by going back and telling the king what he had found on his trip. And the same thing as a creativity explorer, once in a while, I need to go and tell people what I've learned on my travels. So I speak in between 15 and 35 countries every year. That's my job, to go and speak at conferences. And the lesson is, what can we learn about creativity from humanity? That, like, to be more curious about how people look at creativity around the world, and to get people curious and excited about wanting to become more creative, and thus everyone in the organization becomes a little bit more creative, the organization will thrive. So that's kind of my, as a job, I'm a professional keynote speaker.
And you have samples of that out on your website?
Yes, I do. And there's one, I don't have so many full speeches online, but there's a 25-minute speech on creativity. If anyone's interested, there's a 25-minute speech that you can watch, which is a fun speech on creativity.
Yeah, there's, again, so much information. Do you mind sharing? We'll make sure it's down in the show notes. Wherever anybody is listening to this, watching this, they can get directly to your website down in the show notes. I highly recommend doing that. It is a plethora of amazing information. We'll also make sure that there are links to your books so that individuals can get to those. I know they can get to them off of your website, but let's make it as one-click easy as possible. So all they have to do is click down below. But also it helps to hear it. So if you wouldn't mind sharing your website.
Well, it's my name, FredrikHärén.com, or just Google the Creativity Explorer, and I hope I come up.
Since I have taken us a little bit beyond what I had mentioned to you, which would be 50 minutes, and thank you for being so kind and just bumping past and continuing to be in this conversation with me, I want to ask, is there anything as we're wrapping up that you feel, since you are such a present moment being, that has not been completed that you would like to share with our community?
Well, no. Well, I'm not going to say no, but the thought that came into my head when you said that was, I wonder what her insight was from reading The Unvisible. So that's going to be my question.
My insight was, it is such a deep dive into the human collective psyche, where we have an opportunity to not only look at, like, I had to look at myself, putting myself into the position of how would I respond if I found out there truly was this invisible group and I was in that position. But then as a greater whole, looking at our human collective and how much I saw who we are now represented in the behaviors and the patterns from divorces and all. I mean, you explore a lot in this book. And when it gives us a chance to pull up and look at things as a story and really examine, is this who I choose to be? Is this who we should be choosing to be? And if not, what can we do differently so that it's not who we choose to be?
Mm.
And it's beautiful. It's a great opportunity. And that's what I think creativity does for us.
I agree.
And again, we'll make sure this book is available in the link too. It's yes. And anybody who is in film, television, explore it, please. I want to see it. All right. Thank you so much, Fredrik.